All right, so somebody emailed me and asked me if I would talk about marketing from the context of my experience in the juice industry. And I want to make it clear that I have more experience in my family business, which is art and antiques, and I had an equal amount of experience in a retail skydiving business I had for about 9 years back in the mid 90s up until around 2003. So I have experience in different industries other than the juice industry, and I made some notes to try to bring some clarity to the subject. So my experience is that marketing is not actually a natural thing. Marketing is people trying to convince you or persuade you to spend your money with them. And a lot of people that are in the commercial advertising industry or people that have businesses, they will resort to tactics that are less than honorable and oftentimes dishonest to convince people to buy their things. And so some examples of that, for example, are in the soda industry. When you see rich and famous people getting out of limousines and then you see them taking a drink of the soda, the implication is that you could be glamorous and have people adore you and love you just by simply drinking that soda, which is just complete fiction. And so they're telling a story, and their approach is they're taking this approach where they're going to bang on the walls of your subconscious and appeal to your naivete or appeal to your vanity, appeal to your greed. And so I don't really want to talk about that type of marketing because, first of all, I don't even think I'm good at that kind of stuff. I've always taken a very honest approach at marketing products to the public. I'm irreverent. I try to use tried and true tactics for getting attention and rising above the competition. So the first thing is that for me, good marketing begins with a good concept. And I don't think that I could be a good marketing person for a product if it was a terrible product. You know, if you asked me to market tobacco, I would be terrible at it. I wouldn't know how to do it. And so that's not something that I would even try to talk about. But what I did figure out in marketing, and I knew this 20 years ago, is that when you look at mainstream commercials, especially in this country, there's three primary categories that people use to advertise their product. The first one is sex. If they could put sex into the image of the product that they're doing and give the consumer some type of subconscious feeling that if they consume the product that they're going to have sex or get laid or be sexy, it's a winner. The other thing we use in advertising is fear. If there's a way to directly or indirectly make a person afraid that they don't use the product that you're selling, there's a likelihood that people are going to buy it. And so there's lots of examples of products that are like that out there, and I don't have any of them off the top of my head, but you could kind of get the gist of what I'm saying. The third way that I've observed that people sell products successfully is they use humor, and everyone knows what that looks like. If you just watch the Super Bowl uses lots of sex, lots of humor. Everyone's trying to get you to think how clever they are, and if they're clever enough, you remembered the name brand, and so if you have a use for that particular category or product, eventually you're going to make a purchase and you're going to buy it. So in marketing in the retail business, there are factors that you can't escape. For example, the first most important marketing tool that you pick as a retailer is you have to pick a great location. The location that you pick should do most of the marketing for you. Otherwise, why would you be paying expensive rent to have a door somewhere where no one's pulling it? It doesn't make any sense. So location is extremely important. As I mentioned earlier, having a great product is very important. When you have a great product that you bring to the marketplace, there's a good chance that people are going to desire it. That doesn't mean that you're going to be successful, because you have to operate and sell products with a good margin. It's a separate issue than marketing, but you get the idea that if you have a good product, People are going to discover you if you have a good location, and they're going to talk about your product. And so your best marketing really is word of mouth, although that's very cliche. In the retail environment, the experience is really important. People come into your store, they want to be transformed into a new environment, something that's different from the mundane, from their office, from their home, from driving in their car. They want that experience, whatever that is. Is it the music that's playing? Is it the decor? Is it the cleverness of the way that you market and retail your products within the store? Friendly staff is really important. Your signage and the speed of service. There's all these different factors that one would say fits into the operation of the business. But when you really think about marketing, your operation, your product innovation, they're really all tied in together very closely. And you can't neglect those things, because then what really will you be marketing if you don't have a good product, if you're not in a good location, if you don't have good retail operation? You have nothing, right? So create the mood in your store that you think is going to work. And if you're out of ideas and you don't want to copy your neighbors, go back into the history books. There were beautiful retail environments all through the 1950s, 1960s, 1970s. Those looks of stores, the ways that they used to retail and market and merchandise department stores, it's all from an era that's just gone, and it's very easy to bring that stuff back, and some of it might work. So create a nice environment, and if you don't know how to do that, you have to hire a company that can create a great environment. That's part of your marketing strategy. The thing that I'm really opposed to are the standard channels that everybody thinks they're going to just throw enough money at, or they're going to hire the right firm, or they're going to buy the right piece of software, or whatever that stuff is, and then everything is just going to fall into place. So those channels, those standard channels that people take, with SEO optimization and using the right email funneling software and creating advertisements and running them on Facebook, and Facebook's not in style, now going to TikTok. All that stuff is a maze, and there are people who are successful at that. But when you're operating a business and you have a shoestring budget, you're way behind the curve if you're going to try to catch up with people using the standard marketing channels that people use today. You have to try to be different and take risks. You have to be louder than your competition. You also, when you market, you have to figure out what your angle is. What are you doing that's different? And I look at people's businesses. I mean, I could walk through the city of New York and see hundreds of businesses in 2 or 3 days of retail shopping, which I do quite often. When I left my previous company, I spent probably 3 or 4 months just taking the train, riding the bus, driving my car, riding a bicycle, on my scooter, any vehicle I could possibly get into, trying to find every street and try to find all the cool concepts in New York City. And by the way, New York City is cool concept bankrupt in the year 2021. There's very few things that I see that are innovative and exciting, places that I would love to give my money. I don't think there's great places to shop for sneakers. I definitely don't think there's great places in New York to shop for the type of food that I like, etc., etc., etc. I don't want to be too negative, but that's just how I feel in 2021, and I think this stuff goes in cycles. I think a lot of it has to do with how difficult it becomes for the mom and pop or the innovative retailer to open a single store in a city like New York. It just requires way too much money to build a store, to get the security deposits, and then to have a business model that works. Man, is it tough. So what ends up happening is in every corner you have a pharmacy, you have a bank, you have a big coffee shop brand, an ATM machine. It just becomes the same thing over and over again. Pharmacy, coffee shop, bank, pharmacy, coffee shop, bank, and then something really crappy in between. And so that's where New York is at right now. And you can learn a lot about marketing even when you're looking at bad things. When you come to a city like New York and you look at rows and rows of empty stores and you see companies that are surviving, you can try to study even something that you don't like. I look at Dunkin' Donuts all the time, even though I think the product is not really a good product. It's a very unhealthy product. Let's just be candid. I'll say it outright. So I study everything good and bad to really understand what I like as marketing. The other thing that I have that I can talk about and I don't know how to teach is just my personality, who I am. It doesn't work in every format. It doesn't work in every genre. There's people out there that don't like me, that may find me abrasive or overwhelming or overbearing. Who cares about that? Everybody has people that dislike them. And the more people you know out there, the more people that are going to dislike you, the more people that are going to like you. Who cares? Be yourself. The person that I am when I build a retail store is I have to say something funny. There's going to be a funny sign everywhere you turn. My awning is going to have something silly in it. The product names are going to be ridiculous. Anything I put on social media is going to be, a little bit absurd. And I mix in serious topics because I'm also a pretty thoughtful guy and I'm very serious at times. And so I just really have to try to be myself and hope that I show up to the right party. Obviously, if I go to a Hells Angels party, I'm definitely going to be in the wrong place and no one's going to like me. If I go to a party filled with academics from Ivy League schools, I'm going to be way out of place. But I'm really comfortable in an environment where people are similar to me in some kind of way. And I try to find the common thread between people. In the businesses that I am in, people want to be healthy. They want to learn about health and wellness. They want to hear someone talk to them without any nonsense. And so one of the marketing things that set Juice Press ahead of all the companies that were out there was that we concentrated on the science of and the chemistry of nutrition. There was no hocus pocus in the marketing that I did around the food that we were serving. And I could go to bat with great people out there that were nutritionists or doctors or the scientific community and really have a good debate with them about the products that we were selling. So that was always a marketing advantage. If someone says, hey, can you talk to me about marketing, the approach that you would take? Well, it's a very perfectionist project. You have to start off with a great name. You have to have a great logo. You have to build a great website. Your stores have to be built meticulously. People notice details even if they can't describe them. Case in point is when you sit and you watch a great movie. You're not an editor, you're not a Foley, you don't know anything about lighting, camera angles, directing. What you know is you love the movie, and the reason the movie that you saw was great was because of all those details were right. And when you go into the retail business, retail is detail. That is a true axiom. You have to get all the details right, and it's an obsessive career. You have to see me when I'm in that action in those kind of stores, when I'm building out or when I'm designing a kitchen or cleaning the kitchen. Today, I went into a kitchen and as part of an operation that I'm involved in, I spent 8 hours of the day cleaning with my own two hands with some helpers. I got to do it. I do it fast. I explain to people what I'm cleaning, what I'm looking for, how I think about insects in the store and vermin and lighting and where you hang things and how things dry and how things cross-contaminate. I'm very meticulous like that. And I believe that that is a fundamental part of marketing, is to be meticulous in all things that surround your business. And when you dump all of your heart and soul and your passion to it, it will show up in your product and people will feel it in the energy. And of course, I have to put a lot of emphasis on treating the people in your team properly. I know a lot of great entrepreneurs with great ideas, lots of money, great at retailing, picking locations, but they're horrible at managing people. They just don't know how to motivate people. They don't know how to empathize with people that are working for, $15 an hour or less in different cities. They don't know how a person feels standing in the back of house dealing with customers all day. They don't know what type of anxieties that brings up or boredom. And they don't know how to build their environments to treat those people like royalty, because those people are the people that serve your guest and they're people, and they have to love the business and they have to love you. So instead of spending lots of money on stupid advertising and search engine optimization. Spend money teaching yourself how to be an epic leader of people. That will go such a long way for your marketing of your product. Your staff will market your product. When you have great staff and great product and the energy and the vibe are cool and you're playing great music, the guest will market your product. They'll bring people to you. Everything else in your marketing plan is synthetic. You have to fabricate it, you have to contrive it, and you might get lucky doing it, but get in line. There's a million businesses out there that are trying to fake good product, good service, good treatment of people, and you better have very deep pockets. We spent a lot of money advertising and marketing our product. And I have to tell you honestly, from my observation, the thing that drove the business the most was that we were in the right place at the right time. We made people feel cool about drinking juice. And we just did all the details right. So I'm going to try to put together more thoughtful and more strategic concepts about marketing and advertising based on my experiences in the past. But most of the stuff that I'm going to post is I'm going to tell you what you should not do. One of the things you should not do is believe everybody with a clever website that's promising to teach you how to market and how to convert and get 25 million subscribers. There's definitely people out there that are good, but when you're a novice, it's very difficult for you to determine who is going to lead you down the right path. And so if you want to be good at marketing, you have to put on your marketing cap and you got to go out there and learn. Take courses online, read lots of books. I mean, it's actually amazing to just start off with the very beginning of marketing, which is go buy books on typeface and fonts and study fonts and figure out what is good. Start to develop style. Go to the museum, look at artwork, look at things that are famous and try to figure out why people like that type of artwork or that particular artist. That's the journey in learning how to market. There isn't a quick step that you can jump over and then suddenly be in the top class. Some people win, by the way. But when you think about marketing, look at everything. Study famous rock bands. Look at their outfits. Look at the lyrics of their songs. Look at how they stood on stage and whether or not they were dancing. Look at the people in the music world that were innovators. You have to absorb yourself in all this stuff, immerse yourself in it so that you can start to become enlightened. And it's a slow process. If you have talent, it might be a little quicker. Read a lot of books. I have none to recommend because I've never read a book on the subject in my life. I hope this was helpful.